Good morning, Earthlings. How you doing today? This is Josh. Hope you made it through the weekend safe and sound. We've got a lot going on in the world today, as continued from last week. Floods and fires and volcanoes and all this kind of stuff. Things we need to pay attention to. So I hope that you are safe and sound in all of this. And I'm going to keep you informed about what's going on. And let's jump to the dream spell for the moment. Today, on the dream spell calendar, it's a red day. Red electric serpent, guided by the moon. Red is the color of initiation. Electric tone number 3 is the electric tone of activation. And the serpent is symbol number 5. The serpent is all about life force, survival instinct. The guide for today, the moon, is about universal water. The phrase for today is, I activate in order to survive, bonding instinct. I seal the store of life force with the electric tone of service. I am guided by the power of universal water. On the Gregorian calendar, it is Monday, June 27, 2011. So there you have it. That's our day for today. Now we have Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw, who has a story about Obama. Dirk, over to you.
Next up on the Cosmic News Network, the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
Hey there, boys and girls. It's your old pals from freeinla.com. And boy, do we have some big, huge news for you. Catalina Express is celebrating their 30th anniversary by giving a round-trip free pass to anyone who wants to go to Catalina on their birthday. Okay, that's right. It has to be your birthday. And they're going to send you to Catalina for free. Round trip. They're not even going to leave you over there and just leave you stuck. The round trip for free on your birthday. I can't think of a better place to spend your birthday. It's gorgeous out there. That's where I'll be spending my birthday. And this offer is good for the next year until April 30th of 2012. And this, of course, is brought to you by your friends here at freeinla.com. So go check out that website for this and many, many more free deals.
Flying high above the planet Earth, this is the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, it is time for the Cosmic News with Dirk Bradshaw. I am Dirk Bradshaw, and tonight, well, the Cosmic News has given you lots of great information about our corrupt president, Barry Sorrento, a.k.a. Barack Insane Hussein Obama. It's time for everyone to wake up and realize he's not the man you thought he was. This war-mongering puppet with a Nobel Peace Prize is a joke. This is not the man you voted for when he filled your heads with his lies. He hasn't fulfilled any of the promises he made to you and this country. He can't hide the truth forever. And I hate it when people try to make this a racial issue when someone doesn't agree with him and his policies. It's 2011. Not everyone is a racist, and not everything is about race. And I'm tired of the race card being played every single time. It is time to accept that most of us are judging him on his actions and politics and nothing else. I'm sure you once had hope that he would bring about change. But like so many others, he was a letdown. So now, just in time for all the propaganda and prop and circumstance that comes with a re-election, the Cosmic News Network would like to kindly remind you why we would like you not to throw your vote away for the same old
when it became evident in 2007 that dark, sinister forces were propelling an unknown Illinois politician to run for the presidency of the United States of America, True News began to investigate and expose the unexplainable, mysterious past of Barack Hussein Obama and his close association over many years with known domestic terrorists, dangerous extremists, radicals, and communists. True News has been in the forefront of the battle to penetrate the news media blackout about Obama's true identity, such as the fact that he has operated for decades with another name, Barry Soetoro. Whatever you call this imposter in the White House, Barry Soetoro, Barack Obama, the Mac Daddy, the presidential pimp, the Chicago street hustler, he is a man without a past. People with money and clout have assisted Obama in covering up his earlier years. My guest today is a young family man, a Christian, who recently stumbled upon startling information about Barack Obama. For privacy and security purposes, I will not reveal his name or location. I will simply refer to him as Al. He is a professional debt collector. A client hired him to locate a debtor and collect the money. In the course of tracking down the debtor, he unexpectedly found Michelle Obama's name. As he pursued the connection, the trail got darker and more sinister. Now, for the record, this man, Al, voted for Barack Obama in 2008. He is not a partisan opponent of Barack Obama. He is an American citizen who is outraged that Obama lied to him and the nation about his true identity. Now, this is the first time this information has been broadcast on radio or TV. You and I are hearing it together for the first time. So let's bring Al onto the program and let him tell us what he discovered about this lying scoundrel in the White House. Al, welcome to True News.
Hello, sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing great. Okay, so by profession, you're a debt collector, and you were working on a case. You were trying to get information about an individual who owed money to companies, and somehow Barack Obama came into this story. Tell us how this all started.
Well, yes, sir. Actually, it was on one of the nights that I actually choose, to go ahead and do my skip tracing. Because as part of my business, we have to.
What's skip
we
tracing?
Have to verify the names and addresses of our debtors.
What's skip tracing?
Skip tracing is a means by which we actually ascertain the location, names, addresses, verify social security numbers, verify previous addresses, verify friends, relatives, of the individuals that that we're actually skip tracing, for the debt.
Okay. So the first process is to make sure that the person you are zeroing in on is the actual debtor that you want.
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
Okay. So you were working on another case involving another individual, and did this individual live in Washington or Chicago? What's the connection?
Chicago.
Chicago. Okay.
Yes, sir.
All right. Go ahead and pick up the story.
Sure. And so what I was doing was, obviously, when I couldn't find a relative, new phone number or current phone number, for the individual, then you start backtracing, and so you start, through the software, you start hitting the database that has information for their addresses, their phone numbers, their relatives, the associates of the same address, so forth and so on, and then all of their information, is compiled and then it's pulled. We call it, pulling the data.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was pulling this data off of Everett Avenue, there in Chicago, lo and behold, Michelle Obama's name pops up. And in the middle of the night, when you're doing these things, you just really don't have time, because you kind of don't want to lose track. So I just kept on going. And
now, did Michelle Obama's name come up as a neighbor of this debtor?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Back in the 90s, back in the 1990s.
All right.
And so anyway, so as I was finished, I clicked back, just out of curiosity, I clicked on her name, and then obviously Barack Obama pulled up, and then his alias pulled up as well, that was attached to his Social Security number.
What do you mean his alias?
Yes, sir. When individuals apply for anything, or sign a form, sign an application, whatever pretty much they use a name, it's associated with that address and that Social Security number.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently at one time, as of 2009, actually as of November 2009, the alias Bonnell Harrison J, or Harrison J. Bonnell, was actually used with Barack Obama's Social Security number and his address of 5046 South Greenwood Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60615.
Harrison J. Burnell?
Bonnell, B-O-U-N-E-L.
B-O-N?
B-O-U-N-E-L.
Harrison J. Bonnell.
Uh-huh. Or the alias Harrison J. Bonnell.
I've never heard this. I thought you were going to say Barry Soetoro.
No, sir. No, sir. Actually, I looked up Barry Soetoro, and I couldn't find it. It doesn't exist anymore.
Okay, and what's the street address again?
5046 South Greenwood Avenue, Chicago, Illinois, 60615. And actually, at the time, I didn't even know what his home address was. So all this to me was like, hitting me, just like a brick wall. I didn't even know.
This is new to me. I have never heard the name Harrison J. Bonnell.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That was the irony. That was the first anomaly that I discovered, because it's sharing Barack Obama's Social Security number and his home address and the home phone number as well.
Okay, so the Harrison J. Bonnell, it's not just that Harrison J. Bonnell is connected to the address where Michelle and Barack Obama live. You could say, okay, somewhere out there is a Harrison J. Bonnell who lived there at some time and got his mail at 5046 South Greenwood Avenue, Chicago. But you're saying that the name Harrison J. Bonnell shares the same Social Security number as Barack Hussein Obama?
Yes, sir, the exact one. But because what I did was, in order to double-check these things, I have a way that I can backtrack it. And so when I took the Social Security number by itself and entered it into, my search screen, it reverted back and it pulled up Barack H. Obama, Harrison J. Bonnell, or Bonnell Harrison J. at the same time. It gave me two results for the same social.
Okay, so what happened then?
Well, I'm sitting there and I'm looking at it. I said, well, from my own experience, when you have multiple names with one Social Security number, I look at it, and well, I mean that's the way that we're taught really, is to look at it as a case of either stolen identity, okay, or someone using his social, or he let somebody use that social. Okay, that's what I was looking at. Actually, I look at it from the standpoint of proving proving the anomaly, not taking it for granted that it existed. I had to prove it. Okay. And so when I clicked on Bonnell Harrison J's relatives, Michelle Obama pulled up.
Oh, boy.
Her name pulled up as a relative of Bonnell Harrison J. And it showed up with her social, her spouse's, her cell phone numbers, and the address, 5046 South Greenwood, as of October 2010. So when that happens, that tells me one thing, okay, that whoever this Bonnell Harrison J person is, or Harrison J Bonnell, when they associated themselves with Michelle Obama and the 5046 South Greenwood Avenue address. So I clicked on the home address. I clicked on the 5046 South Greenwood. And when I pulled up that information, it showed me two separate owners of the house, not the Obamas.
Okay, so the house that Obama's living in, or was living in, 5046 South Greenwood, it's not owned by the Obamas. Who owns the house?
A judge by the name of Jane L. Stewart. She's a circuit court judge in Chicago, and she's also an Obama contributor. And a Mr. Harvey Weinberg, who is a partner in the firm that handles Obama's taxes.
How about that? His tax lawyer.
Yes. His accountant, actually.
His tax accountant owns the house.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. As per my national property search, and it is with the accounting firm of Weinberg, Solomon, Howell, and Shane.
Weinberg, Solomon?
Weinberg, Solomon, Howell, and Shane.
And what was the circuit court judge's name?
Jane L. Stewart.
Oh, man, I can't believe it's over. Where does the time go? Well, I see the fat lady's off the stage. She's looking right at me. It's time for me to go put her to bed. I hate goodbyes. So instead I'm going to say, until we meet again, I'm Dirk Bradshaw for the Cosmic News. Wake up.
What if our government was responsible for some of the greatest crimes against this nation? Would you really want to know? These are big questions, but these questions deserve answers. It's time to demand the truth.
People should not be afraid of their governments. Government should be afraid of people.
9/11 was an inside job. Kennedy was killed by the CIA. Jimmy Carter saw a UFO. Answers to secrets you need to know. So wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. The evidence is overwhelming. Step past your fear, take a look. Illuminati lies keep growing. What they're losing from your eyes. And wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. What would our founding fathers say if they were alive today? Must be turning in their graves. Redcoats are coming, Big Brother's watching. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. One if by land and two if by sea, and I on the opposite shore will be ready to ride and spread the alarm through every Middlesex village and farm. Whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or abolish it. When a long train of abuses and usurpations, pursuing invariably the same object, evinces a design to reduce them under absolute despotism, it is their right, it is their duty to throw off such government and to provide new guards for their future security. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up, wake up. Wake up, wake up, wake up. Patriots arise. It's time to demand the truth. Thank you very much. This is Josh, and this is the UFO News. All right, very good. Now, here we go today. We got 4 stories for you here. First one, this is from Finding Dulcinea, DULCINEA.com. It is a little bit of history for you. On this day, 1997, the United States Air Force made another attempt at debunking the Roswell incident. On June 24th, 1997, the United States Air Force issued a second report in 3 years regarding the alleged government cover-up of the 1947 UFO sightings in Roswell, New Mexico. The report revealed that supposed alien bodies were actually crash dummies and repeated the Air Force's earlier claim that the wreckage discovered near Roswell was a balloon from a top-secret project. In 1947, William Mack Brazel, a rancher living in a remote area 30 miles east of Corona, New Mexico, stumbled upon a large area of bright wreckage made up of rubber strips, tinfoil, a rather tough paper, and sticks while walking with his son, reported the Roswell Daily Chronicle on June 9, 1947. Braswell thought little of the debris, left it alone. A few weeks later, however, after hearing reports that pilot Kenneth Arnold had spotted what press dubbed flying saucers over Mount Rainier, Washington, Brazel returned to the scene with his family to collect some of the debris. On July 7th, he told Sheriff George Wilcox, who alerted the Army Roswell Airfield, and Major Jesse Marcel. On July 8th, the RAAF announced that it had come into possession of a flying saucer. The story made national news. That same day, the Army Air Force Base in Fort Worth, Texas, which had been sent the debris for analysis, announced that debris was nothing more than the wreckage of a weather balloon. Brazel, in his interview with the Daily Chronicle, said that he had previously seen crashed weather balloons, but in this case, I am sure what I found was not any weather balloon of he knew about. So, obviously, we know the story that they lied again. Can you believe that? The government, the military lied. Can you believe that? It's hard to imagine that with all the integrity that this country has, that our military would lie back then. The lies started so long ago. It's amazing. Amazing. Now, we have a story of a UFO. It says, when considering the advances associated with today's modern visual effects technology, not to mention the draw of potentially instant internet fame and ease of access, it's becoming increasingly more difficult to get excited about UFO sightings. Still, the following display that reportedly illuminated the skies above London earlier this month is certainly worth watching at least once before dismissing it as just another slick piece of sensationalist clickbaiting. So let's check out what this looks like right here. Alright, let's see here. While it's doing that, I'm going to bring it up for you a little better. Okay. There you go. You may have seen it's right around here. You can see it's a pretty fast flying object here. There we go. You see it right here? Boom, right across. It looks like there's 2 of them. Alright, this link is going to be up UFO News. We're having trouble with our website at the moment, some technical difficulties, but later today it will be all resolved. And you'll be able to go to the UFO News link on our page and be able to follow the story and watch the whole video. Now, we have some other video. This was a pretty darn cool one. This was a video that took place over Japan. And as you will see from this image here, this is a pretty interesting looking one. Alright, as you can see, let me jump ahead here. As you can see, it's just turning individual colors. We've got lots of people watching, video them, taping themselves watching. But this is where it gets really interesting on this ship. Watch how this changes here. It's like it's putting on a light show. There we go. It's pretty interesting, pretty amazing light show it's putting on right there, bouncing all over the place. Is it real? Is it not real? You decide. But they are having a lot of these type of sightings out there in Japan. You're not hearing about them, but except when you're listening to this show. But they're having sightings over there. They're also having sightings in other places where there's been natural disasters and things of that nature. The next story we have here, well, this deals with Russia, and Russia was apparently shooting at a UFO. Let's take a look at what they were doing here. Okay, it says this unknown object was threatening that it was attacked by military men. And let's see. And let's see. Okay, so not really seeing a good image here of something shooting at it other than the report itself. This video will be available, but apparently they were shooting at something, scared about something. And we have one more story here. This is just kind of an announcement of some UFO music you might want to know about. This here is a project called Like Two OMEs, and it's a project written by Denis Denocla from France, and it is all alien music, the language of the Umo, and I had an opportunity to participate on this album with two of the songs here. The songs that I was involved with were... Where are they at here? Tell you exactly. This one, track number 3, Thief of Happiness, Oyuisa. And then there was a second one that I was involved with down here. Where is it? There it is. It is called Ayuisa Aoya Ami, with big lies. So I'm going to put this link up there. A lot of good music, a lot of different singers on here from all around the world. Participating on this album. I believe there are a total of 12 tracks on this particular one. There's more music coming from Dennis and the OME project, so stay tuned for that. That is our UFO news for today. Let me jump to a song. I'll be right back.
Headline edition, July 8th, 1947.
Looking to the sky, I saw it. Up above the clouds, it was a silver shiny disc floating high above the ground. Then I saw them waving to me. It was E.T. and his family. Something happened up the street from the ground. The sky had shot the UFO down. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
The Army Air Force has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
One day, I was looking to the sky, I saw a UFO shot down. It was a silver shining disc, broken in pieces on the ground. Then I saw them lying there, bodies scattered everywhere. Something happened, a military show, picked up the pieces, and the case was closed. Roswell,
Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio.
One day, as I was looking to the sky, I began to think for myself, what if another ship comes down to take E.T. home? Then it occurred to me, maybe this is Earth's destiny. Something like this won't happen anymore. No more missiles, no more UFOs down. Roswell, you didn't make it home. Roswell, you didn't make it home.
Headline Edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
All right, welcome back, everybody. Welcome back, First Contact Radio. My name is Josh Poet. I'm with you here Monday through Friday, bringing you the latest news that we can bring you, and information, UFO news, all that kind of good stuff. All right, we're going to jump into our next section here, space weather. Space weather. Okay. Today in the space weather, what you want to know is this story right here. Asteroid flyby. Newly discovered asteroid 2011 MD will pass only 12,000 kilometers, which is 7,500 miles above Earth's surface today, this morning, at 1 p.m. Eastern Daylight Time. That would make it 10 o'clock California time. So in the next hour and a half, we are going to be experiencing this asteroid passing through. Hopefully it's just going to pass right on by and continue. Those down there by the equator, it says at its closest approach, it will pass in broad daylight over the southern Atlantic Ocean near the coast of Antarctica. So hopefully we'll get some good video of all of this as it goes by, and we'll know in a couple hours, actually like 2 hours, what had happened, if it hit us or if it continued on. Here's an interesting picture down here. Electric blue Noscillucent clouds are rippling over Europe this week. In Poland, that means sky watchers should be alert for silhouettes of storks. So that's a pretty interesting looking sky, don't you think? Very nice, very nice. And the space weather itself, we've got solar wind at 439 kilometers per second. You can see it slowed down a bit because last week after the solar flare it was in the 600 range. Up to like 630, I believe it got that high. So things have slowed down. It said solar activity is very low at the moment. Only a small sunspot group, AR 1241, is crossing the visible face of the sun, and it poses no threat for strong flares. So that's our space weather for today. Now let's listen up with what Ron Paul has to say. Last week I played a bit. He is wanting to legalize marijuana. And now this is his regular Monday talk. So let's hear what he has to say. Ron Paul, over to you, sir. Alright, we can make this a little smoother. Here we go.
This is Ron Paul with your weekly update for June 27th. As the economy continues in its downward spiral and talks in Congress about reducing spending have only amounted to political theater, the subject of how the tax code treats energy has become a topic of controversy. Specifically, should we subsidize, enforce mandates, or give tax credits and deductions to industries like ethanol and natural gas? Having a thriving energy market domestically is a good thing and something the government should not hinder. Not only would decreasing our dependence on foreign oil simplify our foreign policy, but it would greatly enhance our anemic economy at home. Of course, the government should neither inhibit nor subsidize any particular type of energy. While many people agree with that statement, there is much confusion over the difference between government subsidies and tax credits or deductions. The difference is night and day, yet so many times They are all lumped together as evil government handouts. A subsidy is a government handout. It amounts to the government taking money from the people and giving it to a favored interest. It is the worst sort of market manipulation and is something I can never support. This kind of government mischief is anathema to the Constitution and to the principles of freedom and the free market. By contrast, with tax credits and deductions, industries, business, and individuals simply get to keep more of the money they have earned. Ideally, the tax code should not be used for social engineering, but until we have true tax reform, I will always support tax credits and deductions that keep more dollars in the private sector where they are spent, saved, or invested. This means I will support tax credits and deductions for energy, producers, farmers, homeschoolers, family child care expenditures, expenditures of evacuees from disaster areas, and even adoption expenses. I've almost never met a tax cut, deduction, or credit I don't like. Any measure that keeps money in the private sector to spend, save, or invest rather than allowing the government to waste or misallocate it is a win for the economy. Inequities in the tax code dealing with tax credits should be solved by giving all participants equal treatment. Removing tax credits is nothing more than a tax increase. I oppose ethanol mandates because I do not think anyone should be forced to use or buy ethanol. Ethanol mandates often serve as corporate welfare for big agricultural ethanol producers. The marketplace should decide whether or not to use ethanol, and producers of ethanol have to discover if they can produce it at a price that makes good business sense. No industry should be allowed to use legislation to create a market for its products. The real reason ethanol mandates continue to surface in federal legislation is that the agribusiness continues to have one of the most powerful lobbies in Washington. Furthermore, while I do not support providing federal grants to any industry, I do support the tax credits contained in the National Gas Act, H.R. 1380. These credits reduce taxes for the production or purchases of vehicles that run on American-made natural gas. These credits are not subsidies. Of course, we should repeal federal barriers to energy production and reducing taxes on all forms of energy. Therefore, I have also introduced the Affordable Gas Price Act, H.R. 1102, which would remove government barriers to offshore drilling, encourage private investment in new refineries, and suspend taxes on gasoline when the price at the pump reaches a certain threshold. Lowering taxes to encourage the domestic production of energy and getting government out of the way of the American energy market is not a government giveaway. It is the way it should be in a free country. Thanks for calling this update. A new update is placed on this number, 888-322-1414, every Monday. The written text can be found on my website, www.house.gov/Paul, under the heading Texas Straight Talk. Thanks for calling.
All right, thanks to Ron Paul for that weekly announcement there. This is going to be up at our YouTube page. You can check it out there. Just one thought about the announcement last week, the legalized marijuana. I talked a little bit about it. It's going to be curious to see how they decide that they are going to talk about this legislation. Are they going to talk about it simply from the standpoint of prohibition, that this is a substance that needs to be legalized so people can go ahead and use this as they do alcohol? Or are they going to look at it from another standpoint? The other standpoint is the cash crop of the plant itself, that beyond the smoking, all the different things that you can do with it, from the making of clothing to the making of paper products to oils to nutritional supplements, on and on. I believe there's hundreds of uses for the plant itself. So are they going to approach from this manner? Are they going to talk about all these different possibilities and the cash that could possibly be brought into this country through a new product like this, or products that are created from the hemp plant? Or are they simply going to stay on the path of this needs to be legalized because of the the smoking aspect of it? We'll be curious to see. We'll find out together as we go along. I know in California they had the legalize on the ballot last time, and it didn't go through. They just didn't push it right because they pushed it from that prohibition standpoint. You know, there's a lot more uses for the plant itself and reasons why it should be brought in and legalized, because you could really use it. It's a cash crop. That's why the founding fathers used it. So if we're going to step back into history, we should take a lesson from our founding fathers. They used it. It was paper. The Constitution was written on it. The Declaration of Independence was written on it. The flag that Betsy Ross sewed was made from it. The revolutionary uniforms of the soldiers were made from it, on and on and on. So we just need to educate ourselves on what are other benefits from it. And again, we'll see how they're going to run this whole campaign, what they're going to do. Now, moving right along, we have a very important story here. I'm going to run this. It is about a berm in the Fort Calhoun plant that has collapsed. We've been hearing reports all across the internet, the alternative media, about what's going on at Fort Calhoun. There's been some brave researchers who have gone up, videotaped around the area, taken readings around the area. We hear all these different stories. They say it's going to be okay, and then there's something like this. Let's check this out here.
A berm holding back floodwater at the Fort Calhoun nuclear power plant has collapsed. The U.S. Nuclear Regulatory Commission says it's monitoring the Missouri River flood at the plant, which has been shut down since early April for refueling. The 2,000-foot berm collapsed about 1:30 a.m. Sunday, allowing the swollen river to surround two buildings at the plant. The NRC says the buildings are designed to handle flooding up to 1,014 feet above sea level. The river is at 1,006.3 feet and isn't forecast to exceed 1,008 feet. The NRC says the inspectors were at the plant when the berm failed and have confirmed that the flooding has no impact on the reactor shutdown cooling or the spent fuel pool cooling. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't believe this berm failure will have no impact on that nuclear power station at OPPD at Fort Calhoun.
Alright, what do you think about that? We've been lied to plenty of times. They had a no-fly zone over Fort Calhoun, and now they say one of the berms collapsed. But don't worry, it's not going to have any effect. Remember Fukushima? They knew right away how bad it was. But for weeks and for months they told you everything is okay. Things weren't okay. I wouldn't take this at face value just because somebody from the government, an agency known to lie to people, is saying that this is okay. I wouldn't believe it for a minute. There's a nuclear plant in the Midwest, one of many which is having problems. Weeks ago, there were internet reports warning Americans that there were going to be threats upon these nuclear power plants in the Midwest. And sure enough, the nuclear power plants are having problems. We didn't see any terrorists go in there. The only thing that is challenging them and affecting them are natural challenges. However, there is plenty of evidence to suggest that the HAARP project has been very much part of the process of creating all this additional weather, that storms have been targeted for that area, tornadoes, crazy weather all around the Midwest. So in that regard, it is terrorist activity. Terrorist activity coming from, unfortunately, inside American territory. Now, here's an article for you. I want you to hear a little bit of this. This is from the American Thinker. It says the Missouri River basin encompassing a vast region in the central and west central portion of our country. The river, our nation's longest, collects and melts from the Rocky Mountain snowpack and the runoff from the continent's upper plains before joining the Mississippi River above St. Louis some 2,300 miles later. It is a mighty river and dangerous. Some 60 years ago, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers, USACE, began the process of taming the Missouri by constructing a series of 6 dams. The idea was simple. Massive dams to top, moderating flow to the smaller dams below, whilst providing desperately needed control of the river's devastating floods. The stable flow of water for the construction of the concrete and earthing levees that protect more than 10 million people who reside and work within the river's reach. It allowed millions of acres of floodplain to become useful for farming and development. In fact, these uses were encouraged by our government, who took credit for the resulting economic boom. By nearly all measures, the project was a great success. But after 30 years of operation, as the environmentalist movement gained strength throughout the 70s and 80s, the Corps received a great deal of pressure to include some specific environmental concerns into their Master Water Control Manual, the Bible for the operation of the dam system. Preservation of habitat for at-risk bird and fish populations soon became a hot issue among the burgeoning environmental lobby. The pressure to satisfy the demands of these groups grew exponentially as politicians traded their common sense for green political support. Things turned absurd from there. An idea to restore the nation's river to a natural state swept through the environmental movement and their allies. Adherents enlisted the aid of U.S. Fish and Wildlife Services, asking for an updated biological opinion for the FWS that would make ecosystem restoration an authorized purpose of the dam system. The Clinton administration threw its support behind the change, officially shifting the priorities of the Missouri River Dam from flood control, facilitation of commercial traffic and recreation, to habitat restoration, wetlands preservation, and culturally sensitive and sustainable biodiversity. Congress created a committee to advise the Corps on how best to balance these competing priorities. The Missouri River Recovery and Implementation Committee has 70 members. Only 4 represent interest other than the environmentalists. The recommendation of the committee, as one might expect, have been somewhat less than even-handed. The Corps began to utilize the dam system to mimic the previous flow cycles of the original river, holding back large amounts of water upstream during the winter and early spring in order to release them rapidly as a spring pulse. The water flows would then be restricted to facilitate a summer drawdown of stream levels. The new policy was highly disruptive to barge traffic and caused frequent localized flooding, but a multi-year drought masked the full impact of dangerous risks the Corps was taking. This year, despite more than double the amount of mountain and high plains snowpack, the true believers in the Corps have persisted in following the revised MWCM, recklessly endangering millions of residents downstream. Missouri Senator Roy Blunt agrees, calling the management plan flawed and poorly thought out. Senator Blunt characterized the current flooding as entirely preventable and told reporters that he intends to force changes to the plan. Perhaps not telling, not everyone feels the same apprehension towards the imminent disaster. The article goes on. You can find this. It's at theamericanthinker.com. So others are thinking. It's good that people are thinking and realizing that this wasn't necessarily the best way to go about it. Once they started blowing the levees, well, everything kind of started going crazy from there. Now, if you remember, a while back there was a clip that we had played of a gentleman who had gone through and done some work with the Bible Code. And in the Bible Code was the name of the actual officer who blew up the levee, the first levee there at Bird's Point. I believe his name is Walsh. His name was in the Bible Code along with the word floods and other such things that came up associated with the New Madrid fault. So maybe this is something that is a little bit bigger than what we realize, and all this flooding was supposed to happen as part of a bigger picture. And if so, this gentleman Walsh and others are all part of it. Something we need just to keep in mind. There's always a bigger picture, friends. There's always a bigger picture. Little pieces make up the big picture. We'll see how it goes and unfolds, but there's a lot more to meets the eye than what we're being told. Now here in Queensland, a giant sinkhole opened up. Says Queensland, now you see it, now you don't. That was the case at Inskip Beach, north of Tin Can Bay, yesterday, as a 100-meter wide section of the beach was swallowed by a sinkhole. The hole opened up on the popular stretch of beach about 10:30 a.m., and by mid-afternoon it looked like a giant bite had been taken out of the coastline. Campers on Inskip Peninsula watched in awe as chunks of sand were sucked out to sea, followed by trees and signs. Visitor Rhonda Harris said it was a phenomenon. When we first came up at about 11 o'clock, the water was actually bubbling like it was boiling, she said. We saw a no camping sign get washed out. Camper Shane Hillhouse said the four-wheel drives had been traveling along the popular stretch of sand near Inskip Peninsula shortly before the hole appeared. This has the potential to take the tip of Inskip Point with it. This is huge and on a scale I've never seen before, Mr. Hillhouse said. No one was believed to have been injured. Gymea Police District Duty Officer Sergeant Vic Tipman said sinkholes which can swallow portions of the beach as big as houses were common in Inskip. You've got to be careful driving up there, he said. It could be hundreds of meters wide. Big areas get washed out. What's going to happen one day is Inskip Point is not going to be there anymore. You can find this at extinctprotocol.wordpress.com. This next story here is a story about Mexican troops crossed into the United States at Bridge 2. A convoy of 3 military trucks loaded with Mexican soldiers crossing the border at Bridge Number 2, clearly violating international law. It happens as Customs and Border Protection inspectors try to figure out what to do. A CPB spokesperson said they got on the phone with the Mexican authorities after being alerted that the military trucks were heading their direction loaded with soldiers and weapons. Mexican leaders say the soldiers, who had just been deployed to Nuevo Laredo, didn't know the area, got lost, and then made their way through Bridge 2. All right. We always like to hear that soldiers get lost when they're out there on missions. Gives us confidence to know that they're going to know where they're going when they get lost like that, trying to find the simple road between one country and the next. Now, what else have we got here? We've got, I'm going to have this link up there. This is linked to Dutch Synths and some tornado warnings for the St. Louis, Missouri area. We've got, this one we'll get another time. We also got Packy, PSAVVENAS is his name over at YouTube. He's got another video there. Lots of good articles in this video. I'm going to have that posted up as well, so you can check that out. What else we got here before we got to go? Here we go. This is up on the front page of YouTube right here. And this says that wildfires trigger evacuations for Los Alamos Laboratory. Santa Fe, New Mexico. Voluntary evacuations have been issued for Los Alamos, including the Los Alamos National Laboratory, which is threatened by a fast-moving wildfire that broke out in New Mexico on Sunday, authorities said. The Las Conchas fire flared early Sunday afternoon around 12 miles southwest of Los Alamos, charring about 3,500 acres and endangering the nation's nuclear weapons laboratory at its surrounding communities, said Lawrence Lujan, a spokesman for the Santa Fe National Forest. We have homes and we have the labs, so it's a very, very big concern, not only locally but nationally and globally. This fire is very complex. We have a national type one team coming in because of the nature of the fire, he said. So very important to keep an eye on that. Here we have another situation where they're talking about blowing the Gavins Point Dam. So they want to blow another one of these things. I'm going to have this link up so you could watch that video. And here we have, I'm going to play the very beginning of this about challenges they're having in Japan still.
If Japan didn't have its hands full with one melted down nuclear plant, well, actually 6, at Fukushima, it certainly does now with another nuclear power plant on the verge of melting down. About 300 miles southwest of Fukushima sits the Monju nuclear reactor, a prototype fast breeder reactor filled to the brim with plutonium, the deadliest element on the face of the Earth. And last year, a 3-ton device of some sort fell into the Monju reactor, blocking access to the nuclear fuel rods in the reactor core, and despite several attempts, has yet to be recovered. Another attempt will be made next week to clear this 3-ton object from the reactor, but critics caution that the procedure is extremely dangerous and could trigger an explosion in the nuclear fuel rods. One ominous sign of just how dangerous the situation is, a top manager at the plant just recently committed suicide.
All right, continuing problems on with Fukushima. I'm going to have this link up there for you as well. What's with all these nuclear plants around the world that are having these problems? It's very strange. We go years without any nuclear issues, and then all of a sudden we have nuclear problems in multiple countries going on simultaneously. Is there some sort of conspiracy behind this? These reactors are all made, I'm guessing, by the same company, General Electric, the same company who has stepped away from paying taxes and is all the other corruption that is being discovered about them. So we're going to have to stay on top of this story, see what unfolds from this. Is this alien intervention that's occurring? Are they involved with this process? There's a lot of talk about different types of aliens and their involvement with this planet over the years. Certainly one of the races talked about is the reptilian race. Well, let me tell you this. The reptilians are here. They have been affecting things for a while, because the reptilians have come down here thousands and thousands of years ago. They're still here. They've become very adept at shape-shifting, looking like the very humans that you talk with every day. They are in branches of government. You know who they are by their actions that they take. They're in branches of law, military, police, all kinds of branches around the world, media, so on and so forth. Watch the movie They Live. It's a very good idea of what might be going on. But the stories go back long and far, all the way back to Africa. Credo Mutwa tells a great story about the beings that landed, the reptilian beings. David Icke continues to talk about it, and we hear these stories on and on. So it's not that we are under a threat from someone on the outside. Those beings, they're already here. You've become used to dealing with them on a day in, day out basis, and you believe the lies they tell you, referring to the presidents of countries and the leadership of this world. It's got a problem, we've got to fix it. Remember, there's more of us than there are of them. Let's go to a meditation time now. A few moments here, just close your eyes. Alright, we are at the beginning of a new week. A beginning of a new week. And at the beginning of this new week, we want to set forth a plan for ourselves. A simple plan. A plan just to go through life by bringing good vibes into the world. Okay? Because if there's anything that our world needs right now, it's good vibes. We're having a lot of problems. People are getting down and depressed. People are getting angry. So let's imagine good thoughts for the world today. Imagine love. And just imagine sending love around the world, a blanket of love to calm the angry hearts. A blanket of love to go around and clear the mind that is filled with distractions. Let's think positive thoughts for the world. Let's know that we can all get through this together, and just take a moment of prayer and hopefulness for the beings of planet Earth, that we make it through the challenges of another day. The more we know about this, my friends, the more we can help each other. Bring your energy and attention back to the present moment, just continuing to think of good thoughts for the world. 3, 2, and 1. Bring your attention all the way back. That's it. Short, simple, to the point. We don't need to get over and heavy-handed with any sorts of meditations at the end, just to leave the show on a positive note. We're all in this together. We're going to make it through this together, but we have to support each other. And the best way right now is to know what's going on in the world so that we can adjust to the situations at hand. Keep thinking good thoughts, my friend. I'll be back tomorrow with Dirk. We'll have more news and information. Till then, be safe. I'm Josh Poet. Peace. Talk to you tomorrow.